Hello, this is Gio. Hey, look what I have here. I have a Coleman Propane Lantern, and I just picked this up at Goodwill for $5. Now, it does have the original price tag on it for about $30, and I think you could still pick these up for around $30, but I did get the deal at Goodwill for $5. And so I thought it would be fun to bring this home and show you how this thing operates. Now, this particular Coleman model is 5154-700, and this one you actually use a propane canister. And I actually have one right here. Now, there's other lanterns where you actually put the fuel in a tank, you prime it by pumping it up, but this one you just put a propane canister on it, and that's how this operates. And this particular model has an electric igniter, so you don't have to use a match to actually light it. And this is basically what came in the box. You have a little base. Now this base, you would put the propane tank just directly in it. It helps stabilize the unit. And then you have the actual lantern assembly itself. And this includes the collar here, which includes the fueling knob, which is right here, and the ignition knob right here. When you kind of use this, there's a little spark that generates here. I'll show you a close-up of that in a second. You got the little glass globe here, and then you have the ventilator cap right here that helps air circulate through, and you have a little nut right here and a handle. So if we twist this nut off, like that, you can take the ventilator and the handle off like that. This is what it looks like underneath. It just has a little bracket here that holds the glass in place. We can go ahead and slip off the little glass globe there. And what you have inside, you have a little bit of a heat shield here, and then you have the little two mantles. Now these mantles are essentially, right now, they're essentially ash. If I were to touch these, they would crumble really fast. And actually looking at them, they look like they're still in pretty good shape, which is kind of amazing for a Goodwill purchase. But I'm going to go ahead and remove these and replace them with new mantles and kind of demonstrate that in a second. But what happens is the fuel, you basically screw in the propane tank right here, tautly but not too tight, and that will essentially allow the propane to come up, and the propane essentially comes up here and kind of emanates out of these holes, and basically just the mantles help kind of like distribute the propane, and when these are lit, these little mantles glow bright, and so that's what generates the light. Now this particular lantern again has a igniter itself, so you don't need to actually use a match. You can still use a match to light these if for some reason the igniter doesn't work. But so if I twist this, there'll be a spark that generates between here and here, and hopefully you can see that. And then when you get the little spark, that will ignite the propane that's emanating from these mantles, and you'll get a flame initially, but then it'll die down, and these mantles will essentially glow bright hot. Of course, you need the fueling knob on when you light that, but right now it's off. And let's go ahead and start by inserting the propane tank. Okay, so I went ahead and put back the ventilator and the globe there so I can install the propane tank. Now, typically the propane tank has a little plastic cap up on top that you just kind of remove to expose the threads, just like that. And you can kind of see what it looks like. It has threads on the outside and this little hole right in the middle. And if you look at the bottom of your lantern here, you'll see a little bit of a rod or nipple that extends from the threaded component here, and that will fit into your propane tank. And when that does, it will penetrate through a little membrane which will help release the propane. Now you do want the fueling knob to be off when you insert the propane tank, because that will shut the valve and prevent the propane from escaping. If it's on, you'll essentially release the propane once that little membrane is penetrated. Okay, so just firmly grab onto your lantern here, grab onto your propane tank, and just insert it carefully and kind of as straight as you can at the bottom here, and apply a little pressure and kind of twist this in place. Now you want to twist it until it's firm, until it kind of stops, but you don't want to over twist it. You don't want to, if you over twist it, you can break some of the lantern components and leak propane. But when you can't twist it anymore, just snugly, not too tightly, you're good to go. Now you sometimes see these lanterns just kind of standing up on the tank itself without a stand. Sometimes the stand gets lost, but in this case, since we have the stand, we'll just go ahead and insert that firmly in like that. And there you go. You're all ready to light your lantern. Now I did say that the mantles that came with this lantern were still pretty good, but I will replace them for your benefit to show how it's done. Now I do have a couple of spare Coleman mantles just like this. I'll open this up, and essentially this is what they look like. They're just little baggies, kind of a knitted bag. And to replace them, again, you just take your lantern, you twist the little ventilator nut up on top, you remove that, you remove the ventilator, you remove the globe, and again, since these mantles have been burnt, they're pretty much like ash, so they'll just kind of crumble in your hands, just like that, you see? And then you can just take the string off. Try not to make too much of a mess here. And just kind of clean off the residual and then take off the other mantle. Now to install the new mantle, you just basically open up the little baggie. You have a little drawstrings here. You don't want to lose those, so just kind of put this drawstring over the end here. And then kind of tighten this up. And then go ahead and just with a knot, just tie this mantle to the lantern. And then just kind of snip off the remainder, leaving a little stub. And then replace the other mantle. Now, although this is a self-igniting version of the lantern, you do need to prime these mantles, and you do that with just some matches or a little lighter. And basically, you need to pre-burn these and essentially make them into ash, and I will bring this outside and show you how to do that. And essentially all you have to do is take a match or a lighter and light the mantles, and they will burn until they turn into a white ash. And after the mantles burn themselves out, be very careful, because at this point they are again very fragile. They're essentially ash. So if you touch them, they could rip and damage, and then you just have to replace the mantles all over again. And then very carefully replace the glass globe and the ventilator cap and top nut. And now you're ready to light your lantern. Now, if this didn't have an igniter itself, you would be using a match to light the actual mantles. But since we have an electric igniter, we're just going to be twisting the igniter knob. And there you go. That is how you operate a Coleman propane lantern. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen, and even consider subscribing to my channel. I'll have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.